Hello and welcome to the Binge Thinker. My name is Jameel Raymond. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today. This week's episode is slightly different. It's a continuation of the pod that I did with Eddie last week. Eddie Duffield, fantastic comedian, producer, and self-proclaimed expert on ayahuasca from personal experience. He probably doesn't call himself an expert, but based on his amount of experience, I think he's got a thing or two when it comes to the world of ayahuasca and plant medicine. So this week's ep is actually the conversation that we had in the lead up to the episode. What I like to do with my guests is I just like to chat with them for a bit, get the conversation flowing. And Eddie and I had such a good chat to begin with, and things just flowed as a conversation that's what you want to capture on episodes and podcasts, I think, is just people really getting into the flow of engaging and conversing. So yeah, I think this is going to be a great episode on its own. We cover a bunch of topics that we've got mutual interests in, things like self-actualization and healing, and you'll see in time a lot of synchronicities in the way we act and think. So again, a great episode for everyone to get involved. Follow Eddie's stuff. Follow Eddie Kickass on Instagram. Check out his comedy shows if you are based in Melbourne, on the Gags Comedy and now Rochi Comedy. Fantastic rooms. Also a great person that really focuses on the experience of a comedy room, much like myself. So again, a lot of alignment there. Anyway, without further ado, enjoy our conversation between myself and Eddie Duffield. Thanks a lot. Ciao for now.
So I quit my job 2 weeks ago. It was like my last day.
Yeah.
And like, as far as I was meant to go on this big trip, I was meant to be going to Canada for a wedding and then going back to South America and doing more Aya and all of that kind of stuff. And I kind of worked out, I had a really good conversation with a very close friend of mine who is one of those men in my life that I can have proper conversations with, that'll tell it to me straight. Yeah. And he basically said to me, look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. He's like, I've known you a long time, and I know when I'm repeating negative patterns. And he's like, I can see every time things get hard for you or things get stressed, you just pack up, you leave, you spend all your money, you come home broke, and you go back to a job that you hate.
Yeah.
What if you took 20K, 25K, whatever I was going to take for a 3.5-4 month holiday, and use that to find the thing that you're passionate about doing?
Yeah.
So since quitting that and then just focusing on comedy, I have had some of the most momentous bombs of my life. You know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of like, I kind of knew, there was a part of me that just knew that it wasn't going to be that easy. The universe doesn't give things to you that easy. Like, of course, I can't just quit my job and then start crushing. Yeah. You know, there's some of the worst bombs I've ever had. So, where were we going with this? So I bet I did a show on Friday and I did really well, and I was like, oh, that's right. That's why I do this. Because when you do well, it's as good as you could possibly feel. I think so.
Yeah, it's infectious, right?
And I've done lots of drugs.
Yeah, and I'm the same. I'm the same. Like, I've done pretty much all the drugs that I want to try in life.
Yeah.
But I know, nothing still beats being in a fucking stage, being with my mates. Like, I was in a band for a few years, a cover band. And even though it wasn't my own music, I still had fuck tons of fun. There's 400 people in the room. They're heaving. You're connecting with a brotherhood.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely killing it out there. And people are loving it. Mm-hmm. And I've felt many times in that process through music, that selflessness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you lose yourself.
Yeah.
So you go, those are really the experiences we're chasing.
Of course.
It's like these peak experience of a complete lack of separation from yourself, from whatever the vibration is of the universe.
Yeah, of course.
Like, and it's harder with comedy because it's such a cerebral process, comedy, compared to music. So you're in the thinker.
Yeah.
It's only when you really become relaxed on stage, when you really just feel and you remember why you're inherently funny, you get to that vibration, then you can really relax and crush, and then, you get that.
I think you're chasing that flow state as well, like when everything's just like aligning for you and you're comfortable and you're relaxed up there and you've got those first few laughs and then everything else is just going really well. I just don't think you can beat that. That to me is like really tapping into something really special.
Yeah.
And it's also like in today, I don't know, man, I'm pretty ADD. I'm pretty easily distracted. I've had my own battles with anxiety and depression and stuff like that. And I find social media to just be vicious for drawing in my attention and sucking out my intention for the day.
It's so fucking bad, man. That's one of the reasons why I sort of quit you doing ACN.
Yeah.
Is because I felt myself getting sucked in.
Yeah.
At my worst, I was on Instagram for 16 hours in 1 week.
Yeah, bad.
And I'm just like, and I can, you know, like Andrew Huberman, he talks about this dopamine triggering. Like, I'm addicted to cheap dopamine.
Same, dude. I'm a dopamine addict.
Yeah.
I'm an addict.
Yeah.
I'm an addict for a lot of different things. I smoked pot religiously, like from the age of 15 to, 6 months ago. And it's been an on and off process for me where, sometimes I can quit for a little bit, but I'm not the type of dude that can have a joint on a Sunday because if I've got any weed in the house, Monday, 7 a.m., I'm rolling a joint. And that's my whole day.
Yeah.
And I used to tell myself that I was like a functional stoner. But then I would once you're out of that and you go back and you take some stock on like, well, what did I actually do today? I ate a fucking 6-week-old packet of Twisties and I watched 19 episodes of Family Guy. Like that's that's not like exactly functioning, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I mean. I'm not quite at that level, but I've been smoking weed quasi regularly since I was like 18, but I'm a lot more in control of it than I used to be because I have a deeper understanding of what wounds it's sheltering.
Oh yeah,
what it's hiding.
Yeah,
and I would still say I'm quite functional. Like I smoke almost daily, but I smoke like an eighth of a gram.
Yeah,
like it's like I never have straight joints anymore. I buy a herbal rolling mix.
Yeah,
it's like barely a 50-50 roll mix.
Yeah,
so for me it's like a drink after work.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I still wake up sharp. I still get things done. So that's where I think I'm functional, but I totally understand the addictive nature of things. I get sucked into things, and I'm every which way all the time.
Well, like what we were talking about just before, like I'm a dopamine addict, right? So like these apps and stuff on your phone, like they know what they're doing. There's literally
100%.
billions, trillions of dollars that are going around, like having your attention and then farming your data and selling it off. So literally, like your brain is their business.
It's the commodity.
Yeah, exactly.
We are in the attention economy. This is what I've talked about many times in this podcast. We are, because wherever you place your attention is where you get information, cognition. That's what your perceptive process is about. And it all starts with that step one.
Yeah.
Where is your attention?
Yeah.
Is it because, we spend so much of our lives projecting externally into the world, and you realize the transformation is when you look internally. But if our intentions, like you just said, are completely drained by this idea of just being tricked.
Yeah.
And our brains are put into this hypnotic state of the quick movements and the, rapid eye movements of what TikTok is particularly, right? It hypnotizes you and it pulls you away.
Well, I had to get off TikTok pretty much immediately. I'm grateful that I'm conscious enough to want to improve, to want to do better. I'm slowly starting to appreciate that everything is a process, that it's baby steps. You're not going to just there is no, this, Jameel, there's no walking off into the sunset with your dream partner and your kid and everything, and there's credits roll and that's it.
Yeah.
Life is suffering. There's hard parts of life. There's good moments of life, and there's always lessons. There's always lessons to be learned. So I'm grateful that I have the forethought to, as soon as I got on TikTok, I remember 4 hours of my day just went like that, you know? And I was like, what have I actually consumed here? People doing pranks, people, 16-year-old girls dancing in bikinis, fucking some 17-year-old telling me it's time to sell my Ethereum. You know what I'm saying? Some kid in a Lambo.
These shitty twin influencers.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I'm kind of guilty of that too sometimes. I wouldn't mind talking about finance, but I've learned a lot about personal finance, but I'm not going to be like, yo, bro.
Look, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I don't think that there's space in TikTok to really, if you can use social media productively and you found an interest for finance through those little 30-second, 1-minute clips, and that's been enough to draw your attention further into it. But you're never going to become an expert because
on TikTok.
Exactly.
No fucking way.
And so the other thing I'm learning about finances, because I've only really started, I'm 37, right? I've only really started looking at my finances recently.
Same.
And that's incremental as well. There is no Warren Buffett. It's timing the market, not timing the market.
Yeah.
So I think when you first get in, you're like, I'm going to buy this at the top, at the bottom and sell at the top. And then I'm going to shift my money into that. And it's not that. It's incremental, slowly building up your portfolio and waiting till you're in your 50s or 60s and you've got a couple of mil to hopefully be happy. But it's the same thing, right? It takes time. It's the same as anything else, as going to the gym, as eating healthy. It's incremental changes to make yourself better.
100%. I always think of time as increasingly. Remember in the older Super Marios where it would just push you?
Yeah.
No matter what. If you just stood there, it would push you and you'd go off into a cliff.
Yeah.
Right? But so that's time.
Yeah.
It's eating away at whatever limited amount of consciousness you've got left in this life.
Yeah.
So you have to be smart and keep jumping and keep getting ahead of the game.
I like
to
that
push
analogy.
Push this shit forward. Because the time's going to pass and people don't recognize that.
100%.
That, like, one of the most influential and most life-changing concepts that I've taken in the last probably couple of years is the power of compounding. Mm-hmm. Right? Time has to compound your efforts for you to see that come back to you.
Yep.
Right? And we live in such a cyclical nature of the universe that, the seeds that you're growing now, you're not supposed to be harvesting the fruit straight away.
No, of course not.
Right? You are building a Garden of Eden. You are building your own forest.
Yeah.
These things take a long time.
Agreed.
And a lot of that also is involved in the groundwork, right? You might not see the shoots for a while, but that's because you're building the roots.
Yeah, 100%. And that's again where social media becomes dangerous, because you see a 21-year-old who bought Ethereum or Bitcoin in 2015 and now he's driving 6 Lamborghinis and stuff like that. Yeah. And you think, oh, well, then it should be that easy for me. I should have what they have. You start to compare yourself to everything else. And I think what we're losing as a society is a few things, but a sense of patience and a sense of community.
Yeah.
Community is a really big one. It's one of the reasons I love comedy as well, is because I've found a new community in it. You know what I mean? Whereas I think that when you're working a job that you don't enjoy so much, and like I worked with people that were great people, they were fine, but they weren't my people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I work in fucking tech and business.
Yeah.
Like, I like what I do, but I don't really care for the people that much.
Yeah. So you end up in this situation where you kind of like, you start comparing yourself to everything else and what everybody else has, and then, that becomes really, really dangerous. You know? Because you start to lose gratitude, you start to lose a feeling of content, being content with what you have, because you're always looking at your neighbour's lawn, you're looking at your neighbour's car, you're looking at your neighbour's whatever, his wife, and it's also like none of it's real. Right?
It's just a facade, and it's one dimension of their life.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that your brain doesn't understand that, right? Your brain doesn't know what's real and what's not. So when you're looking at social media and you see somebody that's got an attractive girlfriend and a really lovely house and millions of dollars and very successful and blah, 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 then your brain just goes, okay, that's how that works for that person. That's exactly. But you don't see the trauma that they're carrying around. You don't see any of the shit. Nobody's on social media going, oh yeah, me and my girlfriend hate each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and sometimes you do that, right? And because vulnerability is in, right? Authenticity is in. This is the new, this is Gen Z social media now.
Yeah.
Right? I saw this thing the other day, actually this morning, called the millennial pause.
Okay.
Which is basically like menopause for the millennials. We're done. No one gives a fuck. We're not it anymore.
Yeah,
like, we're in our 30s.
Yeah.
We're getting avocado toast thrown at us for bank loan ads and shit like that. That's an ad that just really shits me. I saw a while ago. So yeah, this idea, like this, I see some people on social media now that talk about, I might kind of do it too, right? Talk about the shit parts, shit parts of life. And then you'll see other people that talk about their arguments and how they get through the conflict, because that's where the value is. You just got to be making sure that you're doing it as a service, as a genuine service. Because sometimes you can tell there's some fake people in there that are doing that shit.
I think when you're doing it because you genuinely, as soon as you start doing something like that, because you want to make it into like you want to be the next Gary V or whatever, then you're in trouble. If you're, I think I 100% agree with you that authenticity is the new currency of content, and people value authenticity more than ever in such a fake world. And there is a lot of good to social media, and one of those really good things is that, yeah, all of a sudden people are being rewarded just for being themselves, you know, which is something that never happened before. You had to be fake. You had to be what a producer or what
Contrived.
what a television network executive decided was the in thing at the moment. Well, television's dead. They can't keep up with.
Oh, yeah, it's legacy media now.
Yeah, exactly. With what people are doing that's really genuine. So yeah, I think that like what I respect about what you do is you seem to be just, you're on your path, you're speaking honestly, you're doing the shit that you want to do. Hopefully you keep working at that and something comes of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I'm basically doing now.
Everything's intention.
Yeah, there is an intention to this. I'm not doing this to just be look at me. It's like, yes, there is an element of me wanting to be an example because I have changed. I know the depth of how much I've changed my life and perspective on life. And you probably heard the concept of ikigai, right? I'm trying to hone in on that ikigai.
Lay it on me. I don't know ikigai.
So it's a Japanese concept where you basically are measuring these sorts of concepts, things you get paid for, things that you're passionate about, things the world needs.
Yeah.
It's like mixing a bunch of these things together. And that's what I'm trying to do here is like, so I've mentored a lot of people. Okay. Like, probably about 20 people in varying degrees, personally, professionally, giving advice to people that are, in elite positions sometimes. And so, like, I take that on naturally. Yeah. So and I know that knowledge is my commodity. Yeah. I was very smart as a kid. I was a gifted child, but then, trauma, family bullshit got in the way. And then through this process of trauma healing and individuation, that's why I'm getting back into this process to being like, let's dig at this child that was so switched on, and see where it can go now. Yeah. And that's where I'm currently at. Yeah. But that is a constant process of revealing myself to myself and then to the world, which is fucking scary.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that's the mission really, is like, I know that it's early days in that, but it's just going all in on myself in the process of going all in on myself.
I think what's healthy about that and what's fun about that is you're going to continue to learn and you're going to continue to grow. So if you can turn that into something that, what's our purpose of being here? You want to be comfortable. You want your family to be comfortable. You want to help other people in the short time that you have. Yeah. You want to learn. You want to grow. You want to become more in tune with your body. You want to be able to travel. You want to be able to see the world, affect people, all of that stuff. If you're sitting here and you're absorbing all of this knowledge, it's kind of like a win-win, right? Like even if it doesn't work out, let's say in the next year you've only gained another 80 followers, but you've read fucking another 800 books.
I still have all of that to read.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you've read a bunch of books and you've affected a bunch of people and you've had some great conversations, and there's no losing in that.
No, there's not. Because, exactly. You're absolutely right. It's a very low risk. Yeah. The only real thing that I'm doing is talking to people about it. Yeah. Because I'm doing this shit anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I just know this is useful because I've spent the last 15, 20 years getting people's attention inadvertently by speaking passionately about things that I find interesting or knowledgeable. And that's it.
Well, it's the doing that is the success. You know what I mean? Like just doing it, just showing up. Yeah. That's the success. Whatever else comes from that will come from that. Did you listen to that Aubrey Marcus podcast the other day? He had that guy on who did like that bucket list show. Have you listened to that one yet?
No, I saw the clips. I haven't watched too many of Aubrey's pods lately.
Bro, that is a fucking cracker. Yeah. I really, really recommend you listen to that one because that guy he just went for it. He just him and his mates wrote a bucket list and they went and ticked off all of these things on the bucket list and stuff. And it was like, one of those things was like to play basketball with Barack Obama. Wow. And they did it. Wow. And like,
yeah, cool.
So they wrote a list of all these stuff that they wanted to do and they went as crazy as they could with it. And one of them's like play basketball with Barack Obama. So then you start reverse engineering that. Okay, so how do we play basketball with Barack Obama? And they found out that he had, I don't know, some guy that worked with him or for him that was really into basketball that organised these White House pickup games, and they found out that he went to this gym at 6 a.m. So they started going to that gym every day at 5 a.m. and waiting for him to come. And,
Fuck.
a year and a half later, it takes time. A year and a half later, he invites them. He says, we're not going to be able to make this game happen with Barack Obama, but if you want to come and play on the White House basketball court, come play basketball on the White House basketball court.
Fuck yeah.
So they're playing basketball and Barack Obama walks in. You know what I mean? Like he had a thing. He had a conference that got cancelled. So, hey, there's these kids that want to play basketball with you. So he just turned around and did it. And like, I'm wondering a lot about this whole process of manifestation, right? Because I think that it's something that's being, again, it's a very profitable thing for a lot of people, right? You can be a manifestation coach online and you can teach people manifestation and all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you're selling a lot of these people are just snake oil salesmen, right?
Yeah, you're selling just fluff.
100%. But the opposite of that, the other side to that coin is that these kids reverse engineered this thing, and for whatever reason, this conference that Barack Obama was supposed to go on got cancelled that day. He wasn't going to go and play basketball, and something in the universe opened up, and then they were able to actually do it and tick that off the list. Like if there's not something a little bit kismet, a little bit manifestation-y about that, I don't know what is.
No, look, I'm a huge believer in synchronicity.
Yeah.
But that requires action.
Exactly.
Right? Like the term, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true.
I agree. Like if you were to make a vision board and put a Lamborghini on that vision board and then jerk off and go to sleep for the rest of the day, you're not going to get that Lamborghini.
Nowhere near
it's not about waking up and looking at a picture of a Lamborghini every day. It's about, I want a Lamborghini. Reverse engineer, how do I get to that point of getting that Lamborghini? 100%. I think the key to manifestation is goal setting and then working out how to get there from the back,
It really is just that.
Which is something that I never did much of in life until today. Recently. And I'm really stoked that I have been because it's been amazing for me. I've had a really blessed life. Like I've had my fair share of shit go on. I've had my fair share of trauma. Like we all have. Everyone's had shit stuff happen to them. I lost my mum when I was 18 months old. She died in a car accident. That's a hard thing to come to terms with, so you have this sense of identity that you're always looking for and all of this kind of stuff. And then, you start smoking pot at 14 years old and it's the same as like what we were talking about. What are you actually switching off, But then, things like I went to South America to visit a friend in Ecuador, 2011. And I remember me and my stepmom, who, if for the sake of this podcast, I might mention her. She's my mum. I call her my mum. But we were going and we were buying a backpack. She was buying me a backpack for this trip. And I remember the girl at the backpack store said, how long are you going away for? And I said, 6 years. Just came out of me. Came back 7 years later,
Yeah.
I left with 16 grand. I started 2 businesses while I was over there. I got a lot of work while I was over there. I stayed in South America for almost 7 years.
Wow.
And was able to affect some amazing changes and have some amazing interactions and create the most life-affirming, beautiful friendships that still last to this day, But it also gave me, one of the things that it gave me, because there was a lot of just like lying around in a hammock smoking weed, but one of the things that gave me is the ability to slow down and process, okay, well, what do I want? What's next? There was a time in my life where I'd be like, I'm going to go to Argentina next week. And I would just fucking book a flight and go to Argentina. That's a privilege that a lot of people will never experience in their life, maybe not until they're in their late 60s. I was doing this in my mid-20s. And I think that having that time to slow down, to work out what I really wanted, to appreciate what was next, was a really interesting thing that I saw unfold during COVID, where I had friends that I knew had sort of left school, gone straight into uni, done a degree in something they didn't want to do, jump into another degree. Now they're doing a job that maybe they don't love or whatever. COVID had whatever. It was a fucking bitch, especially in Melbourne. But one of the things, if you're looking for the lessons from things, which we always should, I think that hopefully a lot of people got to find some space and some time to be patient with themselves, to really evaluate what was important to them and then get after those things. And a lot of people affected a lot of change in that time.
I was one of them. That's exactly what I did. Like, I transformed in 16 weeks physically.
Bro, I've seen your Instagram just recently. I had no idea.
Yeah.
You're a big fat fatty.
Yeah. I was a fat kid all my life.
No shit.
Yeah, on and off. You know, definitely when I was younger. I was borderline obese, never did any working out, was never fit at all. And then, anxiety, depression, trauma, you know, I've gone through the ringer in a lot of ways. And then, like, light bulb moment, you know, again, the awakening.
Yeah.
The listening. I knew I was repressing the gut for a long time. And that, you know, I've talked about this in this pod heaps, right? The first episode is all about that. Where, I saw COVID as an opportunity to cocoon away. Again, it was a gigantic, the synchronicity in my mind could not have been bigger.
Yeah, right.
The moment I started to take a risk on myself and the life that I thought I could create by design, things just fell into place.
Love that.
And they continue to fall into place.
Yeah.
I'll show you something later.
Yeah.
I've got a little piece of content that I've been working on. Do you believe in the magic numbers?
Talk me through it.
So, you know, you look at your phone and you see like 111.
Oh, yeah, 1111 and all that stuff. Yeah, I love shit like that.
So I was just showing something yesterday. I update this. So and it ends tomorrow. So from June 17th till tomorrow, October 17th, I will have seen every time I see a magic number on my phone or somewhere, I take a photo or I take a screenshot.
Yeah.
So that's 4 months. So that's 120 days. I'm in the realm of about 170 different sightings.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I've got them all documented.
Good for you.
Right?
That's cool.
Yeah. So, but that's a crumb in the universe.
So to you, does that affirm to you that you're on the right path, that you're doing the right thing? That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. But the thing, like, COVID was a synchronicity to me.
Yeah.
Right? Because I broke up with my partner in November 2019. I had an epiphany November 2019 after I broke up with her, because I knew I was planning to do that for a while. It's up to me. And I always thought about the idea of cocooning away. And then, bang, Jan, Feb, March, we are locked down. And I'm like, this is it. Go.
Yeah.
And ever since I took that risk on betting on myself, my success is compounded.
Yeah.
And I have transformed and continually evolved day after day.
Love it.
I went through some real serious levels up during COVID.
Yeah.
And now it's a longer grind. It's like a video game, right?
Yeah.
Those beginner levels, you can get to the fucking main part of the game.
Yeah.
And you pick that up. But now the grind is slower and longer. But that's because I'm trying to make bigger bets and in further times apart.
Love it.
Right? I'm planning 5-10 years from now.
Get after it, buddy.
Yeah. It's a long game. That's what I've figured out about what this is now, is that there's some short-term wins, like getting into physical health and getting into routine, into habit, but your longevity, to become a real killer in this game is you need time and you need those good behaviors.
Yeah.
That long-term game to really compound over time.
Well, I think for me personally, my weight and my fitness has always fluctuated.
Yeah.
But one thing that I know to be like a truth for me that I think is universal is as soon as you put your own body first and your nutrition, consciously what you're putting into your body, soon as you take control of that and start to honor that, then everything else starts to fall into place as well, because things become less hard. I came out of COVID, I did the opposite of you. I got fat as fuck in COVID.
Yeah.
And when I came out, I was like, everyone's still really attractive and skinny and shit. I thought we were all getting fat together. You know, whatever.
A lot of people got fat. I felt like an exception to the rule, man.
Yeah, well, I was like, Jesus Christ, I felt like a beached whale, you know? I would like see photos of myself and be like, holy fuck. But then as soon as like I said, nowadays, like my routine is solid, and it's all about honoring my brain and honoring my body, and I'm doing all of these different things, all these different modalities to try and make myself the best version of myself. And I don't, to be honest with you, I don't know what's next. I don't have that same rock solid direction that it seems like you have yet. But what I know that is happening is every day when I'm getting a little bit fitter, a little bit stronger, a little bit healthier, a little bit clearer in the mind, that picture starts to become more and more certain to me as well.
Yeah.
And I just have an unwavering faith that everything's going to work out.
Yeah.
Which I didn't have before.
Yeah, but
especially when you're dealing with depression and anxiety in particular, you're 100% certain that the roof is going to collapse on you at any time. You know?
Yeah. And I've had anxiety. I still do. Right. I don't have a firm vision. And I try not to. Yes, it's bidirectional. It's sort of like meditation, right? You've got concentric and eccentric focus. I forget the other term. But I know what I have to do, and I know where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
But I keep my perceptions to that as broad as possible.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how the universe is going to make that happen for you.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, I mean, you think about this. I've switched careers 2-3 times in the last 12 to 18 months figuring this out.
Yeah.
I got made redundant from Telstra. I started this company. I folded this company to make it for publicly. So now I'm focusing on myself.
Yeah.
So I am in the space of literally like 15 months have gone through the ringer of direction in life. And it's still going. And then I didn't expect to want to go to Austin.
Yeah, right.
I went there, saw what was happening, had this gut activate.
Got to trust that gut, baby.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. I went on this trip looking for answers. This is the answer. And most of the guidance and the growth in my life has been by following my gut.
Yeah.
And listening to intuition.
Yeah.
But to go back to your previous point, that is a finely tuned instrument of mental, physical, and spiritual health. Right? Because if your body is swimming in cortisol and shitty dopamine and stress, then you're putting yourself out of sync.
Well, I also feel like if you had gone to Austin, how long has this sort of fitness journey of yours been?
2.5 years.
So if you had gone to Austin, let's say COVID wasn't happening, and you had gone to Austin in March 2020, April 2020, and you hadn't had that rocket up your ass, and you went to On It, and you tried to do some, swing a mace around.
I would have been completely fucked.
You would have been completely fucked. You would have been emasculated. You would have felt a sense of failure.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have been able to listen to your gut. You know what I mean? Because you put in the work to be able to trust your gut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You put in the work so that you give your gut the space and your heart the space and your brain the space to be like, okay, no, that's it. That's what makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with this work I was doing. I was in construction, right? So you get paid, I worked on CFMEU jobs. So you get paid insane amounts of money to stand around and watch somebody dig a hole, you know, 150, 100 odd grand a year, 6 figures. Mate, I never went to uni. Paramedics don't make that much. Nurses don't make that much. Teachers don't make that much. Firemen don't make that much. Those people deserve that money. Me, I'll be honest with you, I didn't deserve that money. I loved it, but I didn't deserve it. And a lot of the people that I worked with, they didn't deserve it either. You know what I mean? No beef on them. They're fine people. They're fine. But there was a point, Jameel, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror when I was getting ready for work. I'd be brushing my teeth and I'd be having dialogue with myself like, you're a coward. I can't believe you keep showing up for this. You can't show up for yourself, but you can show up for this. You're always on time. You always do the overtime. If somebody asks you to stay around till 6 and you started at 7, you'll stay around till 6. What people don't realize in that industry is you're literally selling off all of your time. A lot of people do that.
Everyone,
Fair enough. But you're literally selling off all of your time. And then one day, maybe you're on your deathbed and somebody comes up to you. Obviously, this is hypothetical, but somebody came up to you and said, hey, you want 10 years of your life back? Give me $1 million. You know what I mean? Give me $2 million. Give me, then you don't get a chance to put that dollar value back on your time. The time can't be rebought. You know, if for whatever reason, and I'm not saying I won't go back to doing a little bit of that work from time to time when I need the coffers topped up a little bit.
Yeah.
But if for whatever reason I had to go back and I had to get back on a shovel and I had to do that, that work's always going to be there. They're always going to, even when AI and fucking robots and shit, you're still going to need bodies to build roads and train stations and all the dumb
100%.
shit. So me not taking a risk, my guts were screaming at me.
Yeah.
Screaming at me, dude.
And I know exactly how you feel. So that feeling was within my relationship because I had a lot of codependency, a lot of trauma bonding with my first partner.
Yeah.
And I used her as an excuse to not do the things that I wanted to do in life. And then I slowly pushed away from that. But I've had plenty of those conversations with myself in that period of time, in the dark periods of my life. And yeah, when the crunch time came, it made me sick. It made me mentally and physically sick. Like it was like going to blow out of me.
And you didn't want to have the hard conversation, or it was a codependency issue, or what was?
It was everything.
Yeah,
it was
right.
all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know exactly where you're coming from. And the second thing is I know exactly what you mean about the taking the risk, right? That's why I'm taking this risk.
Yeah.
Like I got a 6-figure payout from getting made redundant from Telstra. I took 6 months off.
Yeah.
And almost all of that cash is gone.
Yeah, good.
Right. I bought a car with it. I set up the company. Took some time off to figure out what I was doing next. Yeah, to pay my rent because a lifestyle to maintain. But this, for me, all of this is risk free, and I have to remind myself of that.
Yeah.
Because similar to you, I've got a skill that I know is not replicable by machinery. I have soft skills in an industry that will constantly grow and evolve and is the catalyst for change in all other industries, which is tech. So for me, that's why I went back to working in a tech company because I realized ACN's not going to make money for a long time.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't make financially based decisions about the growth of a company that is about creativity.
Yeah, of course. That's really difficult.
Yeah. So I had to tether myself, and I don't hate my job. Don't get me wrong. I like working in tech.
Yeah.
But it's easy to be, I understand the struggle sometimes of getting comfortable.
Of course.
Versus the struggle of trying to chase the individuation, that growth of what you really think you're authentically meant to pursue.
So can you talk to me about when you're in Austin? Do you have, was it a light bulb moment? Was it an aha moment? Was it you sitting there eating some fucking barbecue and mac and cheese and something clicks in? It's a sunset. Is it a thing, or was it a compounding over a week or something like that?
I was there for 3 days.
Wow.
And my first day was so synchronous that, and I had this feeling in my gut after that day that I could not escape.
Yeah.
I was talking to people throughout these 2 days. I made some friends who were also Australians traveling around. And I was just talking about, hey, I could fucking move here.
Yeah.
You know, everything that I love is in this place.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed about it. And I kept looking, I could get a job here. And what's the tax rate? And what's rent like here? Like, I'm planning my life already. And I'm on the plane leaving back to Australia.
Yeah.
The day I got back, when I landed, I am immediately on Google. I applied for 3 jobs within 24 hours of being in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Back after that trip.
Man of action,
just trying to get it fucking done because, and like I had to slow down because I was like, I'm rapidly going in this direction.
Yeah.
So there's this concept, lightning bolts, not butterflies.
Yeah, right.
You don't want, lightning bolt moments are great, but you've got to make sure that you aren't just, you've got to settle that down and make sure that that's not just a flash in the pan. But yeah, again, it just was, every time I thought about it, it's here. It's in the gut. It's growing from here. And my mind and my heart are catching up.
Yeah.
And so that's why, it wasn't just, like, it was not a build-up, but I wanted to go to Austin on purpose because I was curious about why are all the people that I look up to there?
Yeah.
Why is Rogan there? Why is Aubrey there?
Yeah.
Why is Segura there?
Yeah.
Why is fucking Lex there? Right? Tim Ferriss. Why are all these people in this place? And then I go there and then I'm like,
yeah, gotcha.
I sense it.
Yeah.
I'm this close from Rogan.
Yeah.
Right? I'm this close to great minds, great comedians, great musicians, great ideas.
Yeah.
that's the real ceiling for me here in Australia.
Yeah, there's something about that, isn't there? The incubation of it all.
Yeah, it's not an incubator. There's an intellectual and creative ceiling in Australia.
Yeah, agreed.
And
no beef with Australia.
Yeah, but
I
we all
agree.
know that as artists.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the point, is that I cannot find many, like, one of the things I think about a lot from Naval Ravikant is play long-term games with long-term people. That's where I'm at now. All the short game stuff, I'm already mastering myself. Those are my own tools and skills. But if I want to grow something, if I want to be around something that I want legacy to create, I need to find the right people that align with me on that level. And that's few and far between.
Yeah.
Right? But don't get me wrong, as I go through this journey, people like yourself, that vibe attracts.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? But I sensed it a lot more there.
Yeah.
More than I ever have here.
Yeah.
In the 3-ish years that I've been sort of sensing and growing it. It's like that community is there already.
My favorite quote at the moment, and I was on Jared Gandry's podcast on Wednesday, and I
got to get him on as well.
Yeah, he's a legend. What a fucking great guy. And that guy's driven. He's motivated.
Fucking worker.
Love that guy. What's going on, Gandry? But I spoke about this as well. This is my favorite quote. I've got it on my whiteboard at the moment. And it's, in this life, we must choose our regrets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, every path that you take is going to have some sort of regret attached to it. You know what I mean?
Everything's got a cost.
And so you've got to work out, like, what's your risk versus reward? You know, like, if you go to Austin and it doesn't work out, what's the worst thing that can happen? You just come back here. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't go to Austin and you stay here and you think about that and you don't apply for those 3 jobs in the 24 hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you think you would prefer the regret of not going versus the regret of going?
I can already answer that. And I answered that straight. That's one of the things. I'm like, I will regret not doing this.
Yeah.
So let's go.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't, unless I die in some fucking, I don't know, if the fucking end of the empire and the US crumbles and they have a civil war and I get shot and dead, I still die in the pursuit of doing what I thought was best for me.
And once you're dead, you don't give a shit anyway.
Yeah, I just fucking, you know, throw me to the fucking vultures and
exactly.
we're done and I'll be part of the earth again.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, yeah, it's for me, it's so little risk. All of these things, all of life is actually such little risk when you think this is what you were meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And that's all I keep chasing is things that I think I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And just reinforcing that process with the tools and the lessons of what I know about myself through cultivating self-awareness throughout this journey, and then just adding those tools into this multifaceted idea of myself and what I'm trying to achieve. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's simple and it's complex at the same time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a paradox, and so is life.
Yeah.
So and it's so hard to explain. I'm always dancing in between polarity of different aspects of my life. You know, it's self-individuation versus self-analysis and over again. But then it's everyone should be doing this. Yeah. And that's why I put this out here, because
I think I agree with you to an extent. I just don't know if it's for everyone, because there's plenty of people, you know, here's a funny story, right? Or an interesting story. I had this guy that I used to work with on these construction sites, and his car had broken down. And this was like right when I was sort of making my decision that I'd had enough. Yeah. And I was driving him to work one morning because his car had broken down. He lived right near me, and we're driving in, and every time you have a conversation with these people, so much of it is about money. Never been in a job where so many people talk about, what was your paycheck this week? How many hours overtime did you do this week? All of that stuff. Anyway, we're talking, good guy, really, really lovely guy. We're driving to work, and I'm saying to him, man, like, I just feel like there's something more for me out there. I feel like there's something else I should be doing. This just doesn't fill my cup. You know, I'm so fucking miserable. I'm so depressed. You know, it's hard to find men to have these conversations with anyway, let alone on a construction site. Yeah. And he's kind of just sitting there quietly listening. And he says to me, you know, when I was a kid, all I used to do was stand around and watch diggers. I used to watch just the machines digging holes, and I used to watch the bulldozers, and I used to watch. My parents couldn't pull me away from a construction site. And he's like, now I stand around and I watch diggers.
Yeah.
I'm living my dream. And there was a... And then, like, mate, fair play to that guy.
Yeah.
Like, there was a part of me that was like, fuck, I'm so jealous of that,
Yeah.
right? Like, because... And good for that guy, man. Like, he just wants to fucking stand around and watch diggers all day. That's amazing, bro.
Yeah.
He really is. He's embodying something that, like,
Yeah, he's winning.
is his childhood dream.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There is no, for him, there's no point in going and doing breath work or reading half of these books or anything like that because he's kind of already nailing it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I totally respect that in somebody. I really do. But if your goal isn't to stand around and watch diggers and you end up standing around and watching diggers for 4 years like I had, and you're not willing to make a change and you're not willing to take a risk and step off that cliff, then you're in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that cliff for me was almost a decade.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, it's just a constant process of leaping off. And you get better at jumping.
Yeah.
Right? Just like every skill you attain in life, you just keep better at jumping. And that's what I did now, is I just went, fuck, let's jump. The jumps have gotten bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
This is more of a question of what can't I do?
Yeah.
And that's it. And I already know, I already back myself in to whatever I do.
It's the same as like you're learning how to swim. You're in the shallow end.
Yeah.
You're up to your ankles, then you're up to your knees, then you're crawling around in the shallow end, and then one day you're doing bombs into the deep end, and then the next day you're up on a diving board, and then you're going up that diving board.
That literally happened to me in Austin.
Yeah, right.
I'm a shit swimmer.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where I was like, there's a diving board at one of the creeks they had there.
I know that creek. It's like, and they've built like kind of like a sandstone. Is that the one?
Well,
it's like a pool.
Yeah, Zilka Park or wherever it's called.
I feel like I've been there.
Yeah. It's like
I was like 16 when I went to Austin, so it was a long time ago. But there was like a river, and then they made
into like a pool.
It was sick.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Barton Springs, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
amazing place. Yeah, and I was like, I'd actually like. Oh, there are kids that are fucking flipping and backflipping. They got all these tricks. Yeah, and I'm just this dude. You know what? I'm just happy to jump on the board. Yeah, and not fucking look like a fucking or not completely feel like an idiot. Yeah, and like these kids are absolutely blitzing me, but for me, that's the level of growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for me going, woo! I push myself. Yeah, and that's good enough for me. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Everything is an iteration, but now my iterations are fucking big. Yeah, right. Yeah, because there's nothing really. I've honed my life into only really the things I want to do.
Good for you.
Continually doing in that process, right? I mean, again, that's the individuation process. Yeah. Because what I say on this pod a lot is passion is free energy. Yeah. How did I work 80 hours a week to start 2 jobs at once, like starting ACN and then starting my new job at once? I'm passionate about what I do. The things that light you up, that fill your cup, right? That is free energy from the universe. So if you keep finding those sources and putting them together, that you flow naturally. Yeah. Right? The time flies. Yeah. You don't worry about how much this is going to cost or what this is going to do to your life. The consequence is dull. Yeah. In the attainment of whatever you're trying to pursue. Yeah. Right? Being a better comic, being a better creative producer, physically, mentally. Right? What else are you supposed to be spending your time doing? Particularly us as creatives, right? One of my missions is to be net positive in the world. Yeah. Right? And what I mean by that is I want to be creating more than I'm consuming.
Good for you. Right? Love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not just from a physical sense, like, I minimize my waste and, I'm trying to be efficient with the things I eat, but also the media that I create and consume. Right? I don't watch any free-to-air TV. I don't even have it plugged in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've deleted all the news apps off my phone. The other day, somebody, I can't remember who posted it on Instagram, but it was like, Russia is going to drop a nuke any day now. And I was like, fuck, are they? You know what I mean? I was like, oh, fuck it, yeah, that's right. Russia and Ukraine's going on. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be honouring what's happening to those poor people over there on both sides. It sucks for everybody involved. Yeah. As in any war, the only people that are winning are the people making the arms, making the...
Yeah, your Halliburtons and stuff, but,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Putin's kicking back in some golden palace, you know, probably getting pissed on by prostitutes all day long, and I'm sure that fucking Biden's doing something pretty similar. You know, these people
he's
aren't
pissing on himself. I
exactly. Yeah. Piss and drool, and that guy's like head to toe in fluid, in plasma.
Goodness me.
But you know, it's not to say that I don't honor and I don't have some grief for what those people are going through, but there is literally nothing I can do about it. So it's a waste of my energy. One of the things I found interesting about COVID was when COVID first started and it was like, holy fuck, we're going into this pandemic. I found myself watching the news a lot again.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of 9/11. I remember when I was a kid and 9/11 happened, and for the next 8 months, you couldn't turn on the TV without watching those towers fall.
Oh, yeah.
They've shoved it down our throats for so long. You would watch the planes hit the towers, the people jumping out of the buildings, the towers falling. And even then, I was able to one day realize, like, whoa, this is too much consumption of this, right? And with COVID, you're watching the numbers, you're watching the cases every day, you're watching all of that stuff. And they got me again. They got me. The fear got me. Because it's fear or love, baby.
It's amygdala.
Yeah.
It's all amygdala.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think 9/11 was the first... I mean, because there was relative peacetime in the US and in the West until 9/11. And I think 9/11 was the first real instance of this 24-hour news, constant fear-mongering strategy that networks had, because they go, hey, we've got their attention, right? And then that went through the Iraq war, and again with COVID. Like, I'm the same with you. I switch off all the major news, right? The only time I see mainstream news is when I'm at the gym, because I've got ABC News on, and it's fucking just doom and gloom.
Yeah, bro. Because that's...
Again, the
money,
amygdala,
dude.
fucking all capital letters, red font, red lettering, red, just, again, alert, alarm, stay engaged, stay informed.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how much of this can you affect on?
Exactly. And do we need 24-hour news? Like,
No.
I just don't think we do.
No.
You know, it's like...
Or give me 24-hour good news.
Yeah, oh, baby. I would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really, like, even with, like, my Instagram and stuff, I've tried to just change what I see on my Instagram. Like, I'm trying to delete something that I follow every day that doesn't fill my cup, you know?
Yeah.
Whether that be like, mate, when you're living in South America for as long as I did, like, I'm following somebody that I met in a hostel and, you know, hung out with for 3 nights in some weird town in Colombia.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, oh, well, she's had a 3rd kid. That's beautiful. Good for her. But it doesn't affect my life. So why am I watching this person's stories? Why am I consuming this person's life while my own slips away from me?
I get you. I mean, I like the human element of connecting with people who travel, so I wouldn't necessarily cull that out personally. I like to see, you know, how people's
that
lives
maybe is a bad example. It's more people that are constantly negative on social media.
Oh yeah, they're all gone. I do a social media call, and I've talked about this in the pod about you need to clean up your mental diet just as much as your physical one.
100 hundo.
Right?
Yeah.
You've got to be very precise about the things you consume.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't watch TV. And when I chill out, I'm watching YMH, I'm watching Schultz, I'm watching Rogan, I'm watching Lex or Huberman.
Tim Dillon?
Huh?
Tim Dillon? You get around any
Oh,
Tim Dillon?
yeah. I saw Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
Fucking
Oh, yeah. I was front row. He crushed.
Oh, yeah. I was like a couple of rows behind you.
He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
Fucking killing it at the moment. And that's the thing, is like, I'm educated and having fun, but I'm being educated because they're at the forefront of what I'm trying to achieve here. And then, the books. And now I'm trying to stay off my phone, and I'm replacing anywhere that I would sit on my phone for an extended period of time with books. That's why I have all these fucking things.
Yeah.
I bought all of these in the last since I got back last month. Yeah,
right.
Like, to be like, I am sick of being on my phone.
Yeah.
I need to replace these habits.
Yeah. Well, your phone's a motherfucker, man. I used to have a Pixel, like a Google Pixel, and then I switched to an iPhone. And with the Pixel, there was an app that was like for blocking other apps, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I can't remember what it was. I think it was called Stay Focused. So when I was on Instagram, if I'd used my set allotted time of Instagram, it would block me out. And if I wanted to go back onto Instagram, I would have to go back into that app, go back into, find Instagram on that list of things that were blocked, go into that, rechange the amount of time I want to spend on that. Are you sure? Are you sure you're sure? Are you sure you're sure you're sure? Yep. Bang. Then now I feel dirty. Now I've done something. Hold on, I'm cheating myself, right?
Yep.
I'm breaking a promise to myself.
Yeah.
With the iPhone, they don't let you have apps like that.
Oh, they've screen time because I'm doing the same thing. But
Remind me in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Remind me in 15 minutes.
and then fuck it.
It's one button. It's one button.
Yeah, fuck it.
I can
Just,
press that
I'm done for
button
today.
for hours. For hours, dude.
Yeah.
That isn't enough. If I'm halfway through a video of some guy giving a woman $500 in a Walmart and she's in tears, and then that thing comes up, oh, well, I've got to see the end of this. Oh, remind me in 15 minutes. I can press that button all day long. You know what I mean?
100% agree. We need a better app on Apple to be like, get off your fucking phone and live life, idiot.
But they want you on it.
I don't think it's that. I think it's a complex coding thing, but then also I don't know if it's an Apple thing or if it's just
I think Apple doesn't allow apps that interact with other apps.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a very secure ecosystem, so I think there's something more to do with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there needs to be better controls, or again, why are we blaming the fucking tools?
Yeah, 100%. Bad
How about you
tradesman
just
always blames his
fucking
tools.
harden up,
Harden the fuck up.
and
I agree.
Neil Strauss, great author, wrote a lot of great books, including The Game back in the day.
And well, I also like one of my favorite books ever is The Dirt by Motley Crue, which he wrote, which is just a fucking cracking book. So
amazing.
good. Yeah.
And then so I've read Emergency. I've got Emergency Sign somewhere.
Yeah.
He wrote The Truth, which is my first sort of foray into understanding trauma and relationships and how they affect you.
Yeah.
And that was like an antidote to The Game. But like, he literally locks his phone. It's got a timed locker.
Yeah, right.
And just puts it in there, and it cannot be opened
Love
for
that.
90 minutes.
Balls.
Yeah.
Love
and
that.
I'm getting pretty close to that point.
I might get one of those with you.
Yeah.
Because that'd be sick.
It would
Because
be.
for me, like one of my big things that I'm doing now, because I'm really like, mate, I'm 2 weeks in to what I keep sort of saying is like, I am treating my own joy now like it's my job.
Yeah.
Right? So now I have a routine, and there's certain things. Joy for me isn't doing easy things anymore. It's the other side of something challenging is where the real growth happens.
Yeah.
So now I've got an alarm that goes off on my phone at 9 o'clock. The amount of times I've wanted to go, oh, maybe I should make that 10 o'clock. Maybe I should make that 10:45. Maybe I should make that 11. No, at night.
Right.
So I've got an alarm on my phone at 9 o'clock at night. Phone goes on the charger, it's on do not disturb mode, or it gets turned off altogether, and that's it. And then I'm sitting there on the couch. I stream everything off my phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
I've got a Google Play, so everything that I watch, I have to have my phone for it. So then I'm sitting there on the
Jonesing.
couch. Yeah, bro.
Fucking I'm just
Itching.
doing the same thing, man.
Yeah, man.
Literally now. I'm fucking jonesing.
Yeah.
It's so... And I hate it. Because
Yeah.
I've spent so much of these last 2-3 years getting rid of these behaviors that would addict me to these certain things. And then it's some real next level shit.
But then it becomes a muscle, right? So after I've sat there for 10, 15 minutes kind of feeling sorry for myself because I'm not looking at my phone, I'm like, righto, well, this book's been sitting there for 3 years, 5 years. Fucking time I had a crack at it, you know?
Yeah.
And what I'm finding is like, again, we've been talking about this the whole time, but compounding your habits. When I first started, I could read 3 pages, and then this is how bad my concentration levels have got. I used to love reading. I could read 3 pages, then 10, then 15. Now I can sit there and I can read for an hour. I go to bed earlier. I wake up earlier. My phone is still upstairs. It's still turned off when I get up.
Yeah.
I've got a list of things on my wall that one of the big things that came from this medicine ceremony that I did last week was no more breaking promises to yourself, right? And I've got this list of thing on my wall that's been up there for 10 months. It says non-negotiable. You wake up, you meditate, you do gratitude, you do your kettlebells, you stretch, you do some yoga. You there's like a little sort of, you know, like a The Artist's Way.
Yes.
Do you know that book?
Yes.
So you got to write for
Yeah.
3 pages. You got to do that. That's non-negotiable. That's been on my thing for 8 months. I've never done all of those things on that list. Ever, right?
Yeah.
Until the phone went away, until the phone went upstairs and it gets turned off and it gets removed. It's amazing to me Joe Dispenza talks about it. Tim Ferriss. So many people talk about it. It's amazing to me. If you roll over out of bed, sometimes I would sleep with my phone next to my fucking head.
Yeah.
Straight away, remind me in 15 minutes. I got to look at my Instagram right now. There's nothing on there. There's nothing on there that's going to serve me.
Yeah.
Even with comedy, because I run 2 different comedy nights now. There's a lot of back admin,
There's
and
so many reasons to be on your phone.
You need to be on social media for that. You need to do it to book. You needed to do it to sell tickets. You need to do it for all of that. But if I check the ticket sales at 7 o'clock in the morning versus 10 o'clock in the morning, nobody's fucking buying tickets for a Sunday night comedy show at 7:45 a.m. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know exactly what the fuck you're saying.
Don't need to know what that looks like first thing in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You've got to choose where your attention goes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because your intention is your direction. You know,
100%.
I learned so much of that from doing just plant medicines and stuff like that. Once you start putting your intention into that ceremony, into that space, what am I trying to get from this ancient medicine? What's my goal here?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden that affects how your journey goes, how your trip goes.
Yeah.
I used to do drugs like mushrooms and stuff like that. Even smoking weed, man, you can fucking affect how you're going to...
Oh, yeah. I do that plenty. 100%.
If you smoke weed without any consciousness attached to it, then it's going to go that way. You're not going to have any consciousness. If you smoke some weed and you're like, okay, I'm going to smoke this much of a joint, not this much of a joint, not 15 bongs, because I want just that little right amount of creativity to come out of it, then you can start to affect that because you've put your intention into that thing.
100%.
It's crazy to me. I also think that in Australia we have a consumption problem.
Yeah.
Where like when it comes to booze, weed, drugs, whatever the fuck they call the cocaine you get in this country, it's absolute dog shit.
Yep. Laundry powder.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking scrapings from some bikie's bathtub in South Australia, you know. It's like, sorry, I've lost my train of thought. Whatever you put when you do, we got a consumption problem. So when you're doing it, there is no kind of, I'm just going to smoke a little bit of weed. I'm just going to have one beer tonight. It's 15 beers on a Wednesday. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember this was like, when I was living in Colombia, right, I'd made all these Colombian friends. I used to have a tour company over there, and my friends in Colombia, the best fucking people on earth, and they were so welcoming and so nice to me. And then one day I get a call from them. I used to live in Santa Elena, which was like, Medellin is like a big valley, right? And I lived at the top of the valley so you could see down into Medellin.
Yeah.
And they messaged me during the day, hey man, we're meeting in the park. We're having a barbecue in the park. It was a Wednesday.
Yeah.
I was like, sick. Grabbed all my weed, got on the bus, 45 minutes an hour on the bus, got off the bus. I'm going to this park. I go to the bottle shop. I get 12 long necks of beers and a bottle of rum, right?
Fuck.
There's like 15 of them in this park.
Yeah.
I rock up, 12 long necks of beers and a bottle of rum on a Wednesday to the park. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, we're having a barbecue in the park. They're like, yeah, but we're not drinking. And we're having a barbecue on a Wednesday in the park. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, in my country, when we're having a barbecue in the park, you rock up with an absolute boatload of piss and
you
chuff.
get fucking blind.
You get blind.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, that's not. We bought a soccer ball. We've got some meat. We're going to put it on the barbecue. Old mate's making a little grill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was so embarrassed, you know? And they were like, is that what you do in your country? Every time you go to the park, you just drink piss? I'm like, hey, that's racist. But yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what we do, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think there is a consumption issue in this country where it's like there is no moderation sometimes in Australia.
No, we ruined so many good things.
Yeah, you go hard.
We cannot be trusted. I mean, like, that was one of the great things in Austin when I went there, that in 6th Street. They blocked the entire street off Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. People can bounce between. It's like where all the crazy shit happens, all the fun, all the bars are.
Yeah.
And people have fun.
Yeah.
But the cops are there. They're a bit lenient.
Yeah.
They're just keeping an eye on everyone being safe.
Yeah.
You could not do that on King Street.
Mate, the blood on the street. As if King
100%.
Street isn't bad enough.
Exactly right. But that's the equivalent, right?
Yeah,
you cannot
yeah.
do that. I mean, what is the fucking Melbourne Cup?
Well, yeah.
Right? It's fucking people trying to pretend to be classy, and then that inner convict just fucking just strands to the den. It gets activated by fucking yellow champagne.
Yeah, totally.
Shit like that.
Oh, 100%. It was funny to me. I got into bouldering for a little while there, which I think is amazing exercise. Bouldering to me really helps you tap into being present. I think it's a little bit of a hack code to hacking your brain to being like really present. And I haven't done it in a long time. It was kind of a pre-COVID activity that I was doing. But when you're on that wall and you're trying to work out where your foot goes next, where your hand goes next, it's taking all your strength to hold yourself up there.
Yeah.
You're really present. You're
no
really
choice.
thinking about exactly. You're right there in that moment. It's a bit of a mind hack, I reckon, bouldering. I can see why it's so addictive.
Yeah, because if there's a known element of danger in
100
there.
and exactly.
It's controlled danger.
Exactly. And your brain is in that fight or flight mode, but in a healthy way. You're controlling, same with like an ice bath or something. Anyway, I met this guy. He was from Berlin. He owned a whole bunch of rock climbing places in Berlin, and he was opening one in Port Melbourne, a really massive one in Port Melbourne. And he was like, yeah, I can't get a liquor license. Like, he was kind of perplexed by it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, of course not. It's a rock climbing gym. Like, why would you get a liquor license in a rock climbing gym? And he's like, oh, well, in Berlin, all of my places had you could go and get beers and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's because they
got a culture
they
of
can go and
moderation.
have a couple of beers and then go for a climb on the thing. You know what I mean?
Beer is Coke to them.
Yeah.
It's just a can of Coke.
Exactly,
I'll
man.
sip it and then I will go do my thing.
Exactly.
We
exactly.
cannot be trusted in this place.
I agree. I agree. It's funny.
On that note, we've been fucking talking for ages.
Have we?
Yeah, we
Shit,
have.
that went quick.
I know, it went quick. And we haven't even talked about the thing. So what I might do is,
Yeah.
this might be fucking part 2, and then we'll go back and do part 1.
Yeah, sweet.
And talk about the plan stuff. Just depends how much time we've got.
Yeah.
Give me a sec.
Have a look.